Good evening. I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show. Welcome back from the Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day celebrating our respect to the veterans who have sacrificed and served to present here in the 21st century a transparent, extremely lawful society. And what you're hearing now, and I welcome my colleague Larry Kudlow of the Kudlow Reports and Kudlow Radio on the weekend. Kudlow Reports at CNBC. What you're hearing now is the protest of a media, journalism, reporters such as Larry, such as myself, at what we now understand has been going on with the Obama administration, criminalizing our job of journalism, to report the story accurately, to be extremely careful with our sources, to be careful with our editors and our colleagues. And Larry's program tonight touched upon the matter of the Department of Justice and Eric Holder and these open questions about journalism being criminalized. But Larry, I welcome you because we are going to focus on one part of the scandal that is not commonplace, which is a reporter, a journalist, a host, and sources. Larry, we have a common purpose when we talk to sources and give their information out on the air and don't use their names. That is that we're conveying their information accurately. We won't give away their identity because that's what we depend upon for good information. And in some way, I've heard for the last week, Larry, from people on the extreme left, progressives, and we know our conservative colleagues have been most upset by what I'd have to say, the casual or the inarticulate way the president and the attorney general have treated this story of criminalizing a member of the Fox News reporting. Good evening to you, Larry.
Good evening, John. Well, you know, it's Obama keeps denying it. That's the odd part, and we just keep learning things that Eric Holder said that were not true. And I guess the latest breaking story is that they had to shop around for a judge to be able to get a warrant.
Right. Two judges turned them down. They finally went to Judge Royce Lamberth, and he approved it. He overturned the other two judges and gave them the warrant.
Yep. And here's one thing that interests me. I think Holder has gone way too far with this threat, as you say, of criminalizing journalism. I mean, you're supposed to go after, if you have a leak, if you have a classified leak, you're not supposed to go after the journalist who reports it. Right. You're supposed to go after the leaker or whoever it is, the traitor who releases it. And they've gone after, with Jim Rosen, they've gone after the reporter. That's something very, very new. And I just want to note this morning on one of the news shows, I guess Morning Joe, David Axelrod, Obama's guy, really seemed to throw Holder under the bus. It's interesting. Let me just read this. The notion of naming a journalist as a co-conspirator for receiving information is something that I find very disturbing. Okay, that's Axelrod. And he says later, I don't think reporters should be considered criminals for doing their jobs. And it's the job of reporters to uncover fact. Now, Axelrod has that exactly right. The problem is, why did Holder do this in the first place, and how did they get in this fix? So I wonder out loud whether the White House is now going to either throw Holder under the bus or just turn their back on him and let him fend for himself, because there's going to be investigations, John, and there probably is going to be some kind of special counsel with grand jury empowerment to deal with this, and maybe special counsels for all these different categories, but this one in particular, and you've got everybody pretty much up against Eric Holder. So we'll see what happens, but he's gone way, way too far. And as you know, Roger Ailes has also put out a manifesto that he said Fox will not be intimidated, and there's a closing of the ranks by the journalist profession, as there should be.
And Larry, this was not a hard call when they went into this problem. It is not. They didn't have to puzzle through deep law. This is a tradition in the United States. Our journalism is protected by our First Amendment. It is a puzzle to me that Mr. Axelrod can say he regrets or he thinks this is too far now. What did he think in 2009? Was when he was in the White House? Where did Eric Holder think in 2009, 2010 there was a body of law to support this? I can't find anybody supporting it.
No, yes. I mean, I agree with you on that. I completely agree with you on that. And this is a very strange turn of events. There's another piece to this that Holder may have lied before the Judiciary Committee under oath saying that he had no involvement in the Rosen affair, and yet we find out that he actually signed the documents that allowed them to go after Rosen. And then another odd thing is, if I understand this Espionage Act, which goes back to
1917, right. Woodrow Wilson, hardly ever used until the Obama administration.
Right, it's World War I, and there was a Red Scare after that. But here's the thing. Usually the process includes talking to the journalist and letting the journalist know that this is the Justice Department, that they're asking questions about They didn't do that. Now, you recall the case of Judith Miller, who wound up going to jail because she would not reveal her sources. But she was in contact with the Justice Department at the time, and Rosen apparently was not. They didn't even give him that much.
He didn't know that it was happening? Fox now, the question is, did Fox know? Did News Corp know? Because they haven't got that story straight.
Well, I don't think they... I mean, there's a piece out there that says Justice Department claims it sent some kind of note to Fox.
And Fox can't... News Corp can't find such a note.
That's right. Their lawyers have looked at it and said, we can find no...
Because if the journalist is told that he or she is being investigated under the 1917 Act, you have an opportunity then to go to the courts and appeal. That you can seek to have this stopped. And that's why Justice didn't go to the journalist, didn't tell Fox, because it knew that it would be tangled up in the courts. And in fact, they shopped it to 3 judges. Now, Larry, I want to just mention that I've had sources joking with me the last week, and colleagues of mine have also had sources joking with me. If we tell you, how do we know it's going to stop with you? Or, this is uncomfortable to talk on air. That's how it works, Larry. That you don't actually have to put anybody in jail to chill the voices of conversation about an administration that's in trouble. It's already happened.
Well, it's just interesting. Our show tends to use what I'm going to call opinion journalists more than cover the beat journalists, although we do have beat journalists on from time to time. But opinion journalist is a little different breed, or so I assume. Who knows how this thing's going to play out. But the other part that I don't fathom is why Holder's done this. I don't get this. In other words, this is a aggressive prosecution, I suppose you could say, of the terror war, looking for these secret documents or classified documents. In this case, it was about North Korea. He's harder line than Obama, who, as you know, gave a speech last week sort of backing off all this stuff. And that's what intrigues me, is why Holder, who was such an intimate of Obama, I mean, they're very good friends personally and professionally, would have gone down this path, knowing full well the controversy. I have no clue why he did this.
Larry Kudlow of CNBC's Kudlow Reports and Kudlow Radio on the Weekend on Cumulus. And I mentioned now, 24 hours from now, Cumulus Network will be broadcasting a concert that will also be on NBC television for the people who suffered in the Oklahoma tornadoes. The concert is 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, on television and on radio. It's entitled Healing in the Heartland. And you should know that the people in Oklahoma have been very badly damaged. You could see the pictures. There's a way for you to go right now to United Way of Central Oklahoma May Tornadoes Relief Fund. There's a website, United Way's website, unitedwayokc.org, and 24 hours from now, a concert for the people of Oklahoma. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.